Hey everybody, Justin here with From Zero to Studio, and today I'm going to show you how to EQ vocals in 3 easy steps. Let's dive in. So this is one of my go-to EQ processes for vocals. It's super simple, it's only 3 steps, and it'll work most of the time with just about any type of vocal track. Let's take a listen to these vocals.
And the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again. That's why they say you've got to take all control, but don't break down and fall.
So I've duplicated this vocal track, I've turned off the EQ. Let's check out this vocal soloed out.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again.
So it's a well-performed vocal and it sounds good, but without any EQ it just doesn't fit in the mix as well as it could. And just like EQing with any instrument, we're creating space for each element in the mix. So let's open up an EQ, and you can use any EQ for this. And I'm actually going to show you on 2 EQs. First up, I'm going to use the Waves SSL EQ. And what I like about this EQ is that you can't visually see what's going on. It forces you to use your ears. And then after that, just so you can visually see what's happening, I'm going to use the Waves REQ4, and you'll be able to see those actual EQ curves. So let's start with the SSL. So I'm going to turn this off of bypass mode. And step 1 of this 3-step EQ process is to use a high-pass filter. And what high-pass filters do is they gently roll off all the low end. And in a vocal, there's a lot of unneeded frequency information that can be building up in that lower area. So let's start with this, and generally I'll roll maybe up to around 100 hertz or so on vocals. So let's play this vocal, and I'm going to roll in that high-pass filter. Let's find a good spot for it.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you come.
So you'll hear that if you start going too extreme with it, you start getting that old radio effect. So you don't want to go that far, but it does sometimes help to go a little extreme and then dial it back till you hear a sound that feels good.
Coming alive, they'll try to stop you again. Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again.
So there, somewhere around that 118, 120 even felt good for this. Anywhere between that 100 and 120 range I think would be okay. It shouldn't really take anything away from the vocal, it's just kind of reducing that low end buildup is our goal. And also this is going to free up more headroom and allow space for other elements in the mix. So on to step 2 is to find and reduce the frequency buildup. And what I mean by that is there's usually this muddy, kind of low mid, kind of just boxy buildup that happens in a vocal, and we're going to have to find that. So to search for this frequency, I'm going to create a very narrow Q. And you can see the size of your Qs. See how that's pointier and that's a little bit wider there. So I'm going to create a very narrow Q, boost this up just about all the way. And then I'm just going to sweep in the frequency spectrum to find where that tone is at that I want to reduce.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again. Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins.
All right, so somewhere in there around that 200 hertz, 250, somewhere there. So let's reduce a little bit of that and see how it sounds.
The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again. Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again.
So you'll see if we boost that frequency up, it just kind of has that, you get all that low wobbliness to it.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins.
So that's what I'm trying to reduce there. And then also after I did reduce it a bit, I did widen this Q just a little bit more. So let's bypass this plugin and then turn it back on just so we can A-B our moves so far on the raw uneq'd vocal versus the EQ'd vocal. Here's bypassed.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins.
Here's enabled.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins.
So let's hear that in the mix. Here it is without.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins.
And let's put it back in.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again. That's what they say.
All right, so step 3 is going to be to add a top end boost. And if you already have a pretty bright sounding mic, or depending on your type of voice, you may or may not need to do this, but usually adding a little boost just opens the vocal up a little bit, adds some air, and it creates a nice touch to the vocal. So I'm going to do this by using this high shelf and boosting that at about 8K. Let's hear what we get with that.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again.
Here's without.
Flip the switch and the power goes on.
Back in.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again.
And back in the mix.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again. That's what they say. Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again. That's what they say. Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again. That's what they say.
Cool, so that's great. It just gives a more clear and present vocal in the mix. Without having that additional low end buildup, we got rid of some of that low mid buildup frequencies. And it just sits better between the other vocals and the other instruments. Let's redo this really quick. I'm going to bypass that SSL EQ. I'm going to open the Waves REQ 4, and then you'll visually be able to see what's happening down here. So this is the vocal without any EQ.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins.
All right, so let's start doing that high pass.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you. Flip the switch and the power.
Now we're going to search for that frequency. Make a very narrow Q.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again. Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to.
And I'm going to top end boost.
Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again. Flip the switch and the power goes on. You feel it run through your veins. The message is out that you're coming alive. They'll try to stop you again. That's what they say.
So these adjustments really don't have to be drastic. You should really try to be aiming for a well-recorded vocal from the start. But these subtle adjustments can really just help to clean up a vocal and help it to sit really well in the mix. So there you have it. There's my easy 3-step EQ process that'll get you a great sounding vocal. And obviously, depending on your mic and your voice, these could be a little bit different, but generally the steps remain the same. Roll off some of the lows, reduce some of that low-mid buildup, and boost a little bit of top end to open it up. And you might have to adjust the frequencies a bit to find what works best for your specific situation, but that's pretty much it. Now, as you're working on improving your recording and mixing skills, if you want a guide that'll walk you through every step of the process from songwriting and recording up through mixing and mastering, you can download the Roadmap to a Radio-Ready Song. This guide covers the 5 steps required to take your song from sounding like a demo to sounding pro, and you can download it absolutely free as my gift to you by going to FromZeroToStudio.com/roadmap or by clicking the link below in the description, and you can start improving how you're creating and capturing your music. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I'll see you on another video soon.